Good evening, everyone. This is John Rollins, and we are here for our weekly S.T.R.I.V.E session, strategies to remain informed, strategies to remain victorious, strategies to remain empowered. And I'm kind of chuckling because I'm actually coming on a few minutes later. But no, I actually came in on time, but we had some technical difficulties, and if you want to know, send me a message inbox and I'll tell you what happened. You might find it as funny as I did. But we're here for we want to finish up with our Unclogged series today. We've been talking about the year of unclogging, and for me, I adopted that as my mantra for this year. What can I do to unclog, to free up, to release, to remove the blockages or the hindrances that may be hindering or stopping me from being all that I've been created to become? And we've talked about how we can unclog our career and our financial area of our life, maybe in the family, personal area of your life, maybe with regards to your physical or your health. We spent some time talking about your education and your mental. And now we want to talk about, finish up talking about your social or community. And we want to get it to the place where we are able to finish up with spiritual. What can we do that can unclog the spiritual aspects of our life? And we were talking about social on last week, and I ended up talking about the two types of people, the lifters and the leaners. And so we just go on the way that we do. We're going to ask you some questions. The questions are intended for you to assess where you are, to look at what's going on in your life. And if you're pleased with the results that you're receiving, by all means, you want to continue down the path that you're taking. But if for any reason you're not completely satisfied with your results, if there's anything that you see that's not performing at peak or maximum efficiency, there's probably some minor adjustments that you can make. And the good news is that most of us, the lives that we're living, we don't have to go and do anything major. I mean, there are some of us who have some serious character flaws, and in those cases, we may need major adjustments. But for most of us, we don't need to do anything major, just a minor tweaking. And you will be so surprised and pleased with the results that you can experience in your life. So again, the purpose of what we do here on this session is to give you some questions to ask yourself. Ask yourself while you're having some private time, some time of meditation. Go in and just review your again, look at your actions and look at the results that they're producing. And then you have the option of changing the results, or changing your actions to get different results. I often reference a book that I read by, and I guess I'm still reading it, by Jack Canfield, and he calls it the Success Principles. And one of the things that he speaks about in the first chapter is a quotient that he was introduced to by his mentor, and it says E plus R equals O. The events plus your response to those events determine the outcomes. If you're not pleased with the outcomes, the events may remain the same, but what we have control over is our response to those events. And by choosing the appropriate response, we can change the outcome. By taking time to assess our results, then we can determine whether we continue that path or we take a different route. All right. So we're talking about your social, and we're talking about the type of people that you have in your life. And so here's the first question for today. Do your friends challenge you to grow? The people in your life, do they remind you of your greatness? Do you have people who are coming in and they're highlighting, they're pointing out those areas, I call them your productive strengths? Do you have people who come in and they say, John, every time you're in this situation, man, you always shine. You have people come and say, John, this is a perfect scenario for you to be at your best. And they remind you of the things that you do well. The people who are in your life, are they the people who have some types of traits that you admire? They have traits that inspire you. The people in your life, are they compassionate? Are they risk takers? Are they empathetic? Are they wise? Do they communicate well? Are they more outgoing, or they're more reserved? Are there traits that you have observed in your friend's life? You say, you know what? And I'm not talking about comparing yourself to them. I'm talking about, the scripture says that you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. All those individuals bearing fruit that you say, you know what, if I planted those seeds in my life, I could probably get some of the same fruit. So do they have some traits that you admire? Okay, who do you say this to? I wish I had that in my life. I wish that I wish that I would take more time between the stimulus and my response. I wish that I would learn to listen completely to the situation before I start chiming in. I wish that I would be willing to stand up and speak when the opportunity presents itself. Okay, and am I going to work on incorporating that into my life? Is there something about your friends? Actually, if there's nothing about your friends that challenge you to become better, you probably know what the next part of that statement is. If there's nothing about the friends that you have in your circle that challenge you, that inspire you, that empower you, you probably need to take a good look at the people who you're keeping close to you. Do your friends support you appropriately, or do they hold you back? And the key word here is appropriately. And the training that I offer, I say the best advice that you can give someone is the advice that helps that one be their best. The best advice is the advice that helps one be their best. What advice, what suggestions, what input are you receiving from those people that you call friends? Okay, are they appropriately calibrating you or redirecting you? They see you lose your temper often. Do they applaud you and laugh at it and tell you it's no big deal? Or do they say, you know what, that could cause you some problems in the future? Okay, what are they saying that may help you to be better? Their advice or suggestions. And when you take the advice, are the results that they give you, are those results acceptable? Are they desirable? Or if you take their advice and you find yourself in a better situation, you may not want to go and listen to what they say in that particular area. When was the last time you made a new friend? And when you make friends, do you make friends quickly, or does it take some time for you to receive someone? I'm trying to think of the right way I want to say this. Do you receive people quickly into your life and you adopt them as friends, or are you one of those types of people who people have to prove themselves before you would trust them and you would call them your friends? You may have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of associates, okay, but how do you and how often, how quickly do you make a friend? How quickly do you lose friends? You have individuals in your life and they're there today, and then the next time you know it, they're gone. And you said that was your friend, but my dad says when the rubber hits the road, they're nowhere to be found. Okay. With regards to your community involvement, how involved are you with your community? And if so, what levels? And there are several levels that we can be involved in our community. We could be the part who's doing the strategy, the strategizing. We could be a part of the community who's doing the planning. We could be a part of the community who is contributing to expectations or implementations. Or we could be a part of the community who sits back and watches and complains and mumbles and somebody need to do something about that. Okay, with regards to your community, what are you doing? Okay, the people, what do you call your community? Okay, the people who are around you are your community only the people who live in your neighborhood, or do you have a professional community? Do you have a personal community? Do you have a group of friends who are helping you with your physical? Who do you make your community? All right, so let's do this. Let's finish up with the spiritual part of your life. And my questions for this probably aren't going to be that many. Okay, just a few questions with regards to your spiritual, unclogging your spiritual life, your creative part of you. Question: what do you believe and why? What do you believe and why? We're talking about your belief system now with regards to your spiritual self. Okay, how much of your belief system is a result of what you've heard? How much of your belief system is a result of what you've experienced firsthand? Okay, what do you believe in and why? What steps have you taken? What steps have you put in place to test or to prove what you believe? Okay, now, what are you saying, John? I'm saying that, okay, so if you experience something one time, do you adopt that as the truth without questions? If you hear something from one person, do you adopt it as a truth without question? Do you just go wholeheartedly into what they say? Or do you have steps of testing? Are there principles that will support what you believe? For instance, if you say you believe in the law of gravity, okay, you can prove whether or not what you believe is true. Okay, what do you believe and why do you believe it? Okay, how easy or how difficult is it for you to change your beliefs? Somebody comes with some new information, all of a sudden you're going down a different path. Okay, somebody comes in with the real information and you refuse to change. Okay, they tell you that, you know what, it's going to rain. You see the clouds gathering, you feel the mist, you hear the thunder and the lightning, you're talking about, hey, it's not going to rain. And I understand you can operate in faith. Okay, but how much information do you need before you are willing to change what you believe? And where do you get that information? How responsible do you feel you are for changing or influencing the beliefs of others? Okay, I've learned this some time ago, years ago. We can't change people, and you've heard it before. We can't change people, okay, but we can provide them with information. We can provide them or become an influence for them to help them make informed decisions. What responsibility do you take for trying to influence or inform the individuals who are in your circle so that they can make an informed decision? And who do you allow to provide the information for you so that you can make an informed decision? We're talking about your spirit unclogging your spiritual life. Okay, what evidence do you use to justify or to defend your beliefs? Okay, can you provide? Are your beliefs based on fact? Are your beliefs based on truth? Are your beliefs based on opinion? And I know we don't need to go there and try to explain the differences. Okay, but if all you believing is just because of what your opinion, okay, come on, really? I mean, that may be clogging you. That may be hindering you. You may need to get some facts. You may need to get some truth for which you use to determine or submit your beliefs. What evidence will you consider valid enough to influence or cause you to be open to other ideas? Okay, what do you need to see? What do you need to hear? What do you need in order to build your faith to the place where you can now believe? And my mom says this, and okay, and I love to repeat it. I'm not quite sure exactly where this thing calls. She says, but I know in my knower. Okay, I don't know where the knower is, but wherever the knower is, she knows there. What do you believe? What do you know? What for you is not open to negotiation, not open to consideration? I just know this to be the truth. And do you want to achieve any spiritual goals? If so, what goals do you desire to achieve? Okay, we're getting ready to wrap this up. Okay, but let me ask you this. This is the last thing I have with this. Do you want to leave the world a better place? We're talking about your spiritual self. Do you want to leave the world a better place by your being here? Okay. If you familiar with the term of legacy, what will your legacy be? Okay. How and for what do you want to be remembered? Okay. What are you doing right now today in your life that's writing your eulogy? When you're laid out and all the people have gathered to give their wishes to you and to provide support to your family, what are they going to be able to say about you? We're talking about your spiritual. Okay. And what are you doing every day to put yourself in a place so that when you lay down and you don't get back up, okay, you know that your time here on earth is time that has been well spent. Okay. Now, I'll say this and we'll finish up. Okay. And this is not profound. This is not revelatory. This is just plain old common sense. Okay. Your life, my life, is the sum total of the choices that you or I make every day. Whatever you and I decide to see, whatever we decide to hear, whatever we decide to listen to, whatever we decide to say, if we say it constantly with conviction, it becomes our future. In other words, every day we get the option, we get the choice. God has given us the privilege of choosing and creating our destiny. My pastor ends almost every service with these words. He says, Christ can change your life, but only you can change your destiny. So this has been the Unclogging series, the Unclogged series of S.T.R.I.V.E. We talked about your career, your financial, we talked about your education, we talked about your health, we talked about your relationships, we talked about your spiritual self. Okay, and remember, the whole purpose of this session was to give you some questions to ask of yourself so that you can identify anything that may be clogging or hindering or blocking or reducing your flow. I'll go back to what we said at the beginning. Okay? Our opportunities tend to be proportionate to our capacity. Our opportunities tend to be proportionate to our capacity. In other words, And again, I heard this from Pastor Evans. He says, if you go to the Atlantic Ocean with a thimble, and it is your intent to bring back some Atlantic Ocean with you, all of the Atlantic Ocean that you're going to be able to bring back is a thimble full. Okay, regardless of how much ocean there is, you're never going to bring back more than a thimble if that's all you have. You can go from a thimble to a cup. A thimble is bigger, a cup is bigger than a thimble, but all you'll be able to bring back is a cup, a bucket, a drum, a big tanker, 18-wheeler. Okay, what are you saying, John? I'm saying that as we expand our capacity, we expand our opportunity. If you are looking to have a life that's free of restrictions, free of blockages, free of hindrances, there's something that we need to do to expand our capacity. And how do you do that? By unclogging. I hope this has made some sense to you. I just love the opportunity to be here with you. If you heard something that you like, write a comment, send me a comment, share the message, tell somebody, say, hey, you know what, that little old boy from Copeland, he might know what he's talking about. Okay, and I end the way that we always end. Okay, I want you to remember, if you take nothing from our time together but this, okay, I want you to remember, and I say it with all of my heart, I want you to remember that you are important. Hey guys, this is John, the S.T.R.I.V.E Sessions. Don't forget to check out Pastor Mingo on tomorrow, 7:30. He's bringing the word of life. Okay, all right. If you like something you heard, share it with someone. Let us know. Give us a comment, and it makes a difference. And we'll see you next week. We'll come up with something different. All right, be blessed.